A Baltimore resident raising concerns over the effectiveness of Safe Streets workers. Fox 45 News continues our investigation into the program. Alarming new numbers shedding light on the state of juvenile crime in Baltimore. The number of kids being monitored by DJS. And two of Donald Trump's former lawyers surrendering today. The charges they're facing as Trump prepares to turn himself in tomorrow.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
A Baltimore resident raising concern about trust in the community, saying he isn't seeing Baltimore police or Safe Streets workers engage with the community. It happened last night during another community meeting with Acting Police Commissioner Richard Worley and Mayor Brandon Scott. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Thanks for staying with us. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost has been investigating Safe Streets for years. She has the very latest for us.
He was pretty blunt with the mayor, arguing he doesn't believe Safe Streets workers are doing enough to help lift people out of their criminal environment that they may be in right now. And his concerns mirror what we've found over the years as we continue to investigate this program.
My personal experience is I've never been really a supporter of a lot of the CVI programs I've seen.
Baltimore City has dozens of nonprofits working to help break the cycle of violence.
I respect what they've tried to do, but I think they missed the ball in the people that they've been trying to hire.
Gun violence continues to impact almost every corner of Baltimore, and one program specifically, Bolon Shiamaru has concerns about.
The Safe Streets workers often are chilling in the area with mass groups of people that they know sell drugs.
Shiamaru says possible criminal activity hasn't been in plain sight recently, noting Safe Streets workers are supposed to get to know high-risk people in the community and walk around while on the clock. But he says a few years ago,
I can 100% say that Safe Streets workers were over there handing off things, handing off drugs. I don't know if those people still work there.
And neither does the public. Mayor Brandon Scott keeping the names of Safe Streets workers private, citing safety concerns. Throughout our investigation, we found some Safe Streets workers who have been arrested and charged with dealing drugs while working as violence interrupters. Most recently, we uncovered the case of Vernon Harper. In this indictment, federal prosecutors outlined how violence interrupter Harper was trying to sell drugs. According to prosecutors, he also was known as Diddy, and he traveled from his Pikesville home to Brooklyn, where Harper's worked for Safe Streets in order to sell narcotics to customers. In October 2022, Harper signing a plea agreement, pleading guilty to possession with intent to distribute fentanyl and cocaine. But he's not alone. Ronald Alexander, seen here in a photo from the 2020 federal complaint, wearing a Safe Streets shirt, holding a bag of suspected drugs. Alexander, sentenced in September of 2021 to more than 11 years in federal prison for distributing fentanyl, cocaine, and heroin in Baltimore. Shiamaru says instead of tallying the total mediations completed by Safe Streets workers, like the mayor's office often does, the violence interrupters should be tracking real change with members in the community.
Why are we stacking up our stats and conflicts instead of stacking up our stats on doors knocked?
When pressed during the community meeting, Mayor Scott promising accountability.
If you see anybody that works for me, whether it's BPD, DPW, Safe Streets, Rec and Parks, whoever, pitching, then you let us know that, right? I want to know that so we can get those people. If you got the videos of anybody, give that to us so that we can deal with those people directly.
But Safe Streets workers aren't city employees, and the city points to the nonprofits running the program, like Catholic Charities and LifeBridge Health, as who's responsible for staffing. According to the contracts, the city does tightly restrict what the nonprofits and the Safe Streets workers themselves are allowed to talk about publicly. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
These parents, they need to take control of their kids at home and teach them how to act right on the streets. Now they can find guns and everything.
As an alarming number of juveniles continue to commit and fall victim to crime this year, we're learning more about the number of teens being placed under the supervision of the Department of Juvenile Services. In total, more than 100 young people are currently on 24/7 GPS monitoring. But as Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor reports, several high-profile cases are now calling the program's effectiveness into question.
That's right. The most recent case is the Brooklyn Dade mass shooting. So far, the only person to be arrested for that shooting is an 18-year-old who is supposed to be under the supervision of DJS at the time, causing many to question how he was allowed at the block party in the first place. 18-year-old Tristan Jackson, the first accused gunman arrested in connection to Baltimore City's largest mass shooting to date, caught on camera firing shots into a fleeing crowd, but surveillance video, not the only evidence placing him at the scene. According to charging documents, Jackson, pinpointed by police with GPS coordinates from an ankle bracelet being monitored by DJS for a prior offense.
They may allow you to be outside your house, but they don't allow you to be all the way on the other side of town.
DJS unable to reveal the terms of Jackson's supervision due to confidentiality laws, but say currently 103 youth are under GPS monitoring. A DJS spokesperson writing, quote, they receive schedules and zones of where they are to be each day. Youth on GPS are permitted to be in the community and are not on any community detention status. If a youth registers a GPS event, DJS staff follow up on the matter in real time. But what if a teen falls out of compliance? FOX45 sending questions to DJS asking who's monitoring their whereabouts and what are the potential consequences. So far, no response.
A lot of times monitors will give people, especially juveniles, multiple chances to come into compliance and to report.
Defense attorney Roya Hanna says typically defendants are simply told to go home. And even if the case comes before a judge, rarely are they penalized.
It's just a matter of what excuses he gave to the court and what explanations he or his parent gave about why he broke curfew on that particular night.
In addition to Jackson's case, back in April, 12-year-old Jalen Richards gunned down in South Baltimore wearing a DJS ankle monitor. And in 2019, this 16-year-old charged in connection to Officer Amy Caprio's death, also under DJS supervision.
It's a colossal failure.
Kenji Scott, who once led a state juvenile justice coalition, says a closer eye needs to be kept on DJS's monitoring program for the safety of Baltimore's youth and the community as a whole.
Where we're at right now, nothing is being done. And as a result of nothing is being done, we're burying children and we're burying people who children are killing.
Now, in the wake of the Brooklyn Dade mass shooting arrest, I also asked DJS if they were considering changing any of their current GPS monitoring policies. As of News Time tonight, though, I have not heard back. Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
The class action lawsuit against BGE's controversial gas regulators due back in court in less than 2 weeks. But today, the lawyer representing hundreds of city homeowners claims a victory in this ongoing debate. CHAP, the city's Commission for Historical and Architectural Preservation, ruled against having outside regulators at historic homes unless it's required by law or approved by the homeowner. For months, BGE has stood firm, saying safety is the driving force behind the utility work, even as hundreds of homeowners object.
Not only did CHAP reject BG&E's arguments about safety, they accepted that homeowners ought to have the final say.
In a statement, BGE says it shares and respects CHAP's efforts to preserve our communities. BGE maintains that placing gas regulators outdoors is safer as it reduces the risk of a catastrophic gas event. You can read the full statement on our website, foxbaltimore.com. Well, an update in the Rachel Morin case. There's now a reward for information in the investigation. Metro Crime Stoppers put up $2,000 for anybody who provides a tip that leads to her killer's arrest and conviction. Morin's body was found less than 3 weeks ago along the Mon Pa Trail in Harford County. The county sheriff's office says it does have a DNA match for a suspect in her death. And this is what we know about the suspect. Police say he is around 5'9", 160 pounds. He says he is of Hispanic descent and is in his early 20s. Anybody who recognizes him should call the Harford County Sheriff's tip line 410-836-7788 or send an email to rmtips@harfordsheriff.org. Well, taking a live look over Towson and the Inner Harbor right now, we are tracking our next weather maker. It is expected to bring some rain on Thursday. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers for a first check of our forecast.
Yeah, big forecast coming up. We got the Orioles playing 7:05 tonight. First couple of days of the state fair next several days. So HD radar shows for now rain with that next weather maker and a lot of lightning also over southern PA, northeastern Ohio, just situated west of us. But that will begin to move east. So the O's game should be okay, I think, through about 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight. Temperatures falling through the 70s. Overnight, the clouds thicken, and by tomorrow morning, notice the rain. There could be a rumble of thunder in there as well. I'll be tracking that on the future scan through tomorrow's commuting, all the way into the end of the week when some big heat could arrive. That's in my Weather Authority forecast.
Well, a former Cecil County officer has been charged with misconduct, witness retaliation, and revenge porn. He has been identified as Deputy Kyle Thomas. According to charging documents, Thomas recorded a sexual encounter without a woman's knowledge, and he shared it on social media, allegedly. He's also been investigated for filing criminal charges against another woman who notified the sheriff's office after Thomas took explicit video of himself while on duty and sent it to her. Thomas was with the sheriff's office for about 2 years until this July. The general manager of the Baltimore Blast has been charged for allegedly stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from the soccer team. A judge today releasing Gianni Tuminello without bail. He's facing the potential of up to 60 years behind bars. The owner of the Baltimore Blast telling FOX45 that he is accused of stealing nearly $500,000 from the team, using Venmo and other online apps to steal the money. Outside of court, FOX45 asked the suspect's lawyer if he denies the allegations. He said he could not comment.
Two of Donald Trump's key election lawyers, Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, surrendered hours ago on charges in the Georgia election subversion case. Giuliani was charged with 13 crimes, including breaking the state's Racketeering Act and engaging in various criminal conspiracies. He agreed to a $150,000 bond package. Powell is facing 16 counts, including conspiracy to commit election fraud. Her bail was set at $100,000. They're among 18 people charged in the racketeering case, along with former President Trump. All co-defendants have until Friday to surrender under a deadline from the Fulton County District Attorney. Trump says he'll surrender Thursday. Fox 45 News will bring you the very latest details surrounding his arrest on air and online. Mary?
It's debate day, the first in the race for the White House. I'm Scott Bauman in Wisconsin with what to look for tonight and how Trump is trying to steal the show, even though he won't be here. All of your debate coverage coming up.
Well, more than a half dozen Republicans will take to the stage tonight in Wisconsin for the first presidential debate, the debate that former President Donald Trump has decided not to attend. So does that open a door for another candidate to stroll through and change the tone of the race? Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman's in Milwaukee tonight has the very latest.
Well, it's not the entire field here tonight, but a large chunk of it, and they'll be trying to find those breakout moments, something to separate themselves from the rest of the pack, earn some chatter, and more importantly, some donors and supporters. But pundits will tell you that at least for now, this is a race for second place. The matchup in Milwaukee certain to catapult the presidential race to a new level, but some of the spectacle missing, with Donald Trump choosing not to attend. Pointing to a new poll showing most Republicans, 74%, say they would support him in a general election. Trump's surrogate, Carrie Lake, says there's no need for Trump to take part.
Real Clear Politics shows him up 40 points. This is almost an unheard of advantage. He's already done the job. He's proven himself.
At the same time, never seen someone indicted 4 times. How much does that play into it?
Actually, I've noticed that every time he's indicted, his poll numbers go up.
Meanwhile, many see it as a better chance to introduce themselves. An opportunity, says former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. But the one-time U.S. attorney also wants to hold Trump, there or not, accountable.
I'm convinced we can't win with Donald Trump, and that's the whole purpose of this debate is who's the right alternative that can lead our party.
A sentiment sure to be echoed by another former prosecutor, Chris Christie.
The American people want to see is, what's your plan for the future? Are you strong enough to be able to implement them?
All the expected fighting, though, is also a worry for the party, aware in the end they'll have to coalesce or risk the White House.
We recognize that Democrats, time and time again, they have their disagreements behind closed doors, but they come together, they unite, and they win. And so as a Republican Party, I think next year we're looking forward, hopefully better than ever before, coming together.
One of the big questions is just how much attention will the candidates really get out of this debate? Keep in mind, Trump is trying to drive viewers to watch his interview tonight instead, and then tomorrow he turns himself into Atlanta authorities for an arrest. Again, all of that drawing focus away from this debate. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I'm Scott Thuman.
And Scott touched on it. Even though President Trump is skipping the GOP debate in Milwaukee tonight, he is teasing on his Truth Social platform that, quote, sparks will fly in an interview with Tucker Carlson that will air at the same time as the debate. This as Trump prepares to surrender in Georgia tomorrow. On his platform, Trump says he will, quote, proudly be arrested for fighting what he calls election integrity. Trump has already agreed to a $200,000 bond with certain conditions, including limiting on social media posts about the case.
All right, taking a look at the Fox Triple Cast this evening. Mile 1 Taos Cam, Toyota's Inner Harbor Sky Cam showing signs of our next weather maker on the HG radar. You see it there with the showers and thunderstorms, some clouds already in, but for the most part, a dry day, actually a really comfortable day with highs in the 80s and low humidity. All of that is going to start changing. Humidity comes in as the rain and the thunderstorms do as well. Let's go ahead and we can zoom that out just a little bit. Let's switch that around. There we are. You can see the showers and thunderstorms that are up toward Hamilton, Ontario, east of Detroit, moving south toward Pittsburgh. The eastern edge where we are still drying out. So the nice weather continues for a little longer before the clouds give way to some rain potentially on and off here and there tonight, maybe even an embedded thunderstorm. Tomorrow it turns more humid, still a risk of some on and off scattered showers and maybe a rumble. And then Friday, some big heat from the west builds in, at least for a day. There is a marginal 1 of 5 risk of severe weather. So if you have plans of heading out to the state fair tomorrow or maybe on Friday, there could be at least some risk of rain. Things do look increasingly better over the weekend. Toyota's Inner Harbor Sky Cam 79 right now, winds out of the southeast at 11. Out in the tropics, a few things that we're watching right now, but nothing that's impacting the United States. So that's some good news there. Taking a look at the future scan overnight into early tomorrow morning. There are some scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder after midnight through the morning commute tomorrow, at least the early half. By about 8, 9 o'clock, it's just a couple of sprinkles. But there could be a spot shower or storm almost any time tomorrow, all the way into tomorrow afternoon as humidity comes up. After midnight tomorrow night into early Friday, it looks like around a heavier rain. and then it turns hot during the day on Friday. And notice some of those spotty showers trying to move in from the west. There could be a gustier thunderstorm with those in the afternoon as well. 67 showers developing late tonight, scattered showers and maybe a rumble of thunder tomorrow. 83, more humid. I've got your exclusive 10-day forecast on deck in a couple of minutes. Going to let you know how long the unsettled weather lasts and how it looks for the first day of school in a couple of minutes.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Incredible video from Canada where a fire whirl or fire tornado developed in British Columbia. A combination of fire intensity, strong winds, and air mass instability combined with the complex terrain created this scene north of Vancouver. While in California, more images of impassable roads damaged by Hillary's floodwaters. The most significant damage is just west of Death Valley National Park.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
Severe flooding on the West Coast causing concern about mold growing in homes, why experts say climate change could worsen the problem. In tonight's Assignment America, flooding from extreme weather is becoming more common, and we are seeing what plays out on the West Coast right now with Tropical Storm Hillary. As the National Desk's Angela Brown reports, that flooding could become a bigger issue for homeowners.
Climate Central sending out an alert as Hillary was forming, saying intense storms will bring more flooding. That can lead to more water in homes, and mold can form days after a storm. Incredible video capturing flooding at Cedar City, Utah, as Hillary moved through. At one point, water in the emergency room at Intermountain Healthcare Hospital.
There was a lot of water intrusion into the building, so there's going to be a mold problem. A lot of the carpets are soaked.
Mold-infested homes and businesses, a problem that could become more frequent. Dr. Mike Van Dyke from the Center of Health, Work and Environment points to climate change.
As the temperatures get higher, we're seeing more severe storms and more frequent storms, and I think that's what we're going to have to live with moving forward.
And this year, the mold risk is elevated. NOAA now forecasting an above-average hurricane season with an expected 14 to 21 named storms.
Those places that aren't prepared for large volumes of water being poured on them, that's the places where we're going to see, the most houses get damaged just because the infrastructure isn't strong enough to really support the removal of the water in those areas.
Health experts say that mold can create health problems. It can make your asthma worse and also respiratory infections. Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
And around here, your exclusive 10-day forecast, an increased chance of some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder tomorrow, 83, 91. Hot, humid day on Friday. There's even a marginal 1 in 5 risk of severe weather there. 88 less humid on Saturday, lower humidity, and 84 Sunday. Could see a PM shower first day of school there. A lot of kids on Monday, 81, 83 Tuesday, Wednesday, 84. And as we head toward Labor Day holiday weekend, some nice looking weather and state fair weather too. Low to mid 80s and dry.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, finally tonight, a Washington National Cathedral gargoyle gets its head back nearly 12 years after an earthquake knocked it off. Take a look at this. Workers were seen reattaching the head to a gargoyle, affectionately called Mr. Decapitated, after it was destroyed during the 2011 D.C. earthquake. Remember that? The 5.8 earthquake caused nearly $38 million in damages to the cathedral, but this is one of the first steps in returning it to its former glory. Well, that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud is next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.